we must get going. Just to say a huge welcome to Derek Moore, who is joining us today to talk about open learning for professional development. Derek, massive and warm welcome to you. For
Thanks,
everyone
Nicola.
in the text chat or everyone in the room, can we just ask you to please mute your microphones if you are not currently speaking? These go very fast. Derek, Nicola is in the room, so I'm going to hand over to her to manage the chairing process for you. But
Thanks.
Thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to what you have to say.
Thank you. Thanks, Shanali. Hello, Nicola.
Hi, Derek. I'm not going to steal any of your time. Please go for it.
Okay, and I've got 15 minutes, or 13 now. Cool. Hello, everybody. I don't know, I'm not sure how to start a talk and summarize it into 15 minutes, especially when all of us are actually possibly in such different places. Although I'm talking about open learning for professional development, I also want to acknowledge that many of us are possibly also feeling a little blank and a little bit exhausted. And what I'm suggesting over here actually is going to require perhaps an extra infusion of energy. And I also want to recognize that some of us are just too tired to do that, and that's absolutely fine. But for those that are willing to tolerate my gung-ho-ness, please let's carry on listening. Okay, so my title is Open Learning for Professional Development. And what do we mean by the term open learning? Well, I think open learning really is maybe what we have had a little taste of. Some people have had a little taste of. It's a term used to describe a learning situation in which learners have the flexibility to choose from a variety of options in relation to the time, place, instructional methods, modes of access, and other factors related to the learning processes. And in actual fact, many times those who have experienced open learning are those who haven't been able to access synchronous learning opportunities like we're doing on Zoom, and they've actually had to make plan B. I would like us to look at open learning not for our students at the moment, but open learning for professional development. And professional development normally is associated with getting a whole lot of little certificates or credentials or conferences. I'd like us to look maybe a bit at informal part of professional development. The stuff that we're doing at the coalface, the stuff that we are putting into practice. I'm sure you're all quite familiar with Phil Hill's phases of higher education response to COVID-19, and as Mike mentioned, we have been on a very steep learning curve, especially in phase one. I'm not sure where you are and where your institution is, if you've moved out of phase one, where you've had to transition rapidly, or maybe you moved into phase two, you've added the basics. Perhaps you're in phase three where it seems to be dragging on, but there is extended support that has been going through the year. Or else maybe you're starting to prepare for next year, where you're saying, okay, well, what are we going to do now as we head into perhaps post-COVID? Phase one obviously was the questions around access. Don't have internet, electricity, device, Wi-Fi too expensive, all of those, and I think I hope that in terms of your professional development and your learning, you kind of passed that stage. But my question for you is, what are you doing to share what you've learned there? Okay. Phil Hill actually published a more up-to-date version of this graph, where he divided phase four into phase 4A and 4 B, where 4A was reintegration, and phase B was into emerging into the new normal. And it's in these phases that I want us to start looking at open learning for professional development. Perhaps these are some of the issues that you covered in phase 2 or 3. Is this in the test? I'm muting something. You also want my camera on? Where can I download a copy? Oh, my brain hurts, kind of the cognitive load of dealing with learning on a small screen. And there were questions that you had to address, like access, educational quality, guidance and direction, responsiveness. These are big issues that you were perhaps dealing with. What are you doing to capture all that learning? Because for me, I'm concerned that if we as an institution and we as individuals rather, are not capturing our responses to this crisis, we're going to be at the mercy of the next crisis. And we've been there before. When fees must fall, we had to address issues like access, educational quality, guidance and direction, and responsiveness. And what did we do to capture that? And what did we do to build up on that for this pandemic crisis? And I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I do want to suggest that this is not going to be the last time campus is going to close. How are we going to be ready for the next time? Or do we just accept that we have the strategy of tolerable sub-optimization, where university leadership responds to financial constraints by accepting and normalizing suboptimal support, and we just do less with less because we're stretched already, we're exhausted. Okay, so what I want us to look at as learning designers or ed techies is this journey that perhaps we are on, and perhaps the people that we work with, the lecturers and academics, are on. At the bottom, we have the one that are lecturers. We have novice online educators, tend to make sparse and superficial learning architecture that replicates teaching and learning. So you can see that journey down at the bottom. And then the top is perhaps ourselves, or what we're aspiring to. Experienced learning designers have meaningful architecture and rich pattern and heuristics that support learning and performance. Again, what COVID did was it challenged novice online educators to up their game and to change to novice online educators can begin to build. And what can they build to? Well, this is where I think open professional learning can kind of assist. And I'd like us to look at open education resources and open education practices to assist us in our open professional learning. So open education resources, there's your definition. They are probably well known to you guys. They allow you for 5 R's. You can reuse them, you can revise them, you can remix them, you can redistribute them, and you can retain them. And open education practices are slightly different. They are the practices that go around the creation, use, and management of open education resources with the intent to improve quality and innovative education. And these are features of OERs, of OEP. It makes use of participatory technology. It's people-focused, relies on openness and trust. It makes space for innovation and creativity. It allows you to share ideas and resources. There's a community. It's often generated by learners. It encourages reflective practice, and peer review is involved in it as well. So if we want to look at our professional development as a journey, perhaps maybe we can be dividing it into these kind of 5 phases. First being building a knowledge base, where we say, okay, what do we know, and where do we start building a knowledge base? Well, there are a range of different places. I mean, if you're on Twitter, a short tweet that describes your reaction to something you've read is the start of building a knowledge base. If you own a blog, or if you intend to own a blog, perhaps if you post some of your ideas there, you're building a knowledge base. What I love about what we're doing over here in UP2U is we're observing models and examples, and we're seeing other institutions and people. And one of the exciting things about the exhausting things as well, but one of the exciting things about the last 2 years has been seeing different models and examples in practice around the world, reflecting on your practice, changing your practice, and sharing expertise. Now, if I had more time, I would do this exercise, but I don't. But perhaps maybe we can still think about looking at this. And this is an exercise that Justin Reich from MIT did a couple of weeks ago, and he asked us to look back over the last 2 years and amplify, hospice, or create. And this is what his exercise is. Okay, what do you want to keep? What do you want to let go of? And what new things do you need to create? The amplify. Okay, think about, and you might want to, if you want to interact around this on chat, what has gone well during this period of emergency remote teaching? Think of something that has gone well and capture that and just write that in a word or two, with amplify behind or in front of it. Second, the hospice. What was really hard about emergency road teaching? What can we let go? What do we not want to return to when we get onto the post-pandemic campus? What are some of those things that just give you the thrills? Okay. And then the third thing is the create. What can we create in the next year which will help amplify the good and hospice what we should leave behind?
Sorry,
okay,
Derek.
so
I'm just cautioning some that we're running out of time. I think we've got like 1 minute, but I think your reflection
absolutely. I've got 2 slides
really
to go.
useful. Perfect. Go for it.
I've got 2 slides to go. Okay, so if you are wanting to be involved in this amplify, hospice, and create, and you want to start building a knowledge base, then every Friday I'm running something called Folio Friday, where I ask people just to join me for 2 hours, and we set time deliberately aside where we actually just build our knowledge base, whatever that means. So on Fridays, you'll see me tweet about it, and you're very welcome to join me. I'll just send out a Zoom link, and we sit basically virtually together and update our portfolios. I've also created something to help people with their knowledge base. It's called the Open Umbrella. If you're interested, please contact me and I'll tell you more. But I think we need to be thinking about how we build that better. I want to stop the toxic positivity. Let's stop the cheery face. If things are crap, then let's call it crap. I also don't want to be a person being a cruel optimist and espousing something that actually is an obstacle to flourish, but I would allow us for critical hope, acknowledge that we're in transformation, and welcome complexity, and be comfortable with being discomforted. Thanks, Nicola. I think that's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Derek, for that inspiring session and for that invitation to join your Folio Fridays.
Thanks,
All right.
Nicola.
Sorry, I know we don't have much time for questions.